Oh, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Memorial Day. This is the special Cipher session episode. Welcome. I am the Abundant Alchemist.
Enrique?
Yo,
And today we got a special state of the markets to go over with you, some great news, and we're going to debate on, not debate, just go over the different viewpoints and what we believe should be done to kind of tackle the situation that we're in right now. And how would you
very
like that?
exciting.
Yeah,
We,
it's a lot going on.
we got the band back together
That's it, kid.
for a special episode. How's everybody
Yes, sir.
doing? Everyone good?
Doing good,
Yeah,
man.
feeling great. You know, a
Yeah,
lot of people may be crying right now while the dip is happening. I'm kind of happy.
yeah, man. By the dip.
That's it.
So
That
you
is
guys want
right.
to get into the charts, Mano, or just kind of, and then
Let's
we go
jump.
over what's going on in the market.
Let's get into the nitty gritty, like my man Jack Black would say.
Alrighty.
So we're gonna take a look at the either Bitcoin dominant. Yeah, this is the Bitcoin dominance chart here. So this is on the weekly. We've been seeing Bitcoin really dominate the entire market at the moment. Um, as you see, I had this yellow trend line up at the top. It's kind of thin, but you could see it cross over the top. It was serving as resistance for a while, and we have broken through for the past 2 weeks, jumping from about 44% dominance to now 46% of the market dominance, which is significant because we're talking about one coin versus thousands of other coins that are sharing market space, right? So altcoins compared to Bitcoin, I just want to put this out there. They may be performing better, which I don't think is the case, but they can have a chance at performing better when you compare it to USD. But when compared against Bitcoin, they are not outperforming Bitcoin. So right now, everything, we could see that it's down, but altcoins are bleeding a whole lot more than Bitcoin when compared to value. So that's just the first step in kind of getting a feel of what's going on in this crypto market. And then we could take a look at the Bitcoin charts. And I want to kind of explain what we're seeing here with all these squiggly lines and everything, right? So at the very bottom of the chart where you see the blue line getting thicker there, this is what's called the Bollinger Bands. And generally what we could see is price action travels from the bottom of that band to the top. So right now we're seeing Bitcoin dominance go up, stretching out that band there. And naturally, over time, we could see it then fluctuate back down. Right now, Bitcoin is dominating. Will it continue? That's yet to be seen. But generally, the rule is what goes up goes down. So, will we see some kind of altcoin rally coming up soon in the month of June? We're going to talk about that. Um, so, let's see if we could move on to the Bitcoin charts. This is the dominance chart. Did I send you two dominant charts? I hope not.
I believe so. Oh no,
Okay,
there
there
you
we
go.
go. So that's the Bitcoin versus dollar. And again, I want to kind of give an explanation of what you guys are seeing here. So the purple line all the way at the bottom is the 200-day moving average. Generally, whenever we fall below that, it's super bullish. Now we're looking at the weekly charts. So we have support here at the 200 moving average. And we see that there's a lot of wicks there for the past 1, 2, 3, weeks, meaning that there's been sellers, but also buyers to meet that selling pressure. Now we're seeing this week, as we're starting a new week, yesterday at 7 p.m. in the Bitcoin market. We have 6 days to go, and we started off strong. So we see that with that green candle, the last green candle that we just built, are beginning to build, and we shall see what happens from here. But I just want to kind of show that we've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, almost 9 red weeks in a row. If this week we do not kind of correct and bounce, it will be 9 red weeks in a row, which is really not good. But generally, that would be a time to start getting curious about dollar cost averaging in, beginning a position. We could always go lower, but that's why you don't, if you have a stash of cash, you don't want to just go all in. You want to begin to ease into the market um, as we begin to get a feel for that floor. And, that's what's going on.
That's a great segue to our first topic. What do you guys think is going on with the actual market right now? How would you explain it? What do you see?
E, talk to us.
Go ahead. You could jump in first, and then I'll piggyback off you.
All right. So right now, the way that I see it on the macro, there's a whole lot of instability. We're going from this monkey business to war, to supply chain issues. A lot is going on. The real estate market, I'm getting news also that sellers are kind of getting antsy to get out and get rid of their homes. They're beginning to lower prices. So, is this a shift in the dynamic that we've seen from sellers being in control to now buyers having the ball? There's a lot of change that's going on, a lot to keep up with. I think we're seeing a bounce in NASDAQ. Could this be a dead cat bounce? Possibly. I think we will see crypto, much like it's done in the past, follow the movements of legacy markets, older markets, and we just have to kind of be patient if you are a trader in this space, in this crypto space. Um, Keep in mind that the first lower low is generally not the cycle bottom. We want to kind of wait on some movement, which we're beginning to see. We're early as far as Bitcoin goes. We want to see a relief rally, right? If you're trying to time the bottom, which everybody knows it's very difficult, if not impossible to do, but you generally want to see a relief rally and then another trickle down, and that may be the cycle bottom. So that's how I'm kind of looking at this. When it comes to special coins of value that we want to hold long term, I'm beginning to get curious as far as taking position into these, because we can fall further down. Just because we've experienced an 80% drawdown does not mean that we cannot experience an 80% further drawdown. So as far as I'm looking at this, is being very cautious, also being very excited, because if we take a long-term approach, um, this isn't the end of the world. The markets will continue. And those that are patient and get in position, especially with things like Web 3.0, layer 2 scaling solutions for Ethereum, we will come out super ahead because we're super early. And like Warren Buffett says, buy when there's blood on the streets. Be greedy when people are fearful, and fearful when people are greedy. That's kind of where I want to leave it. I think that's a mouthful.
Yeah, I think I agree with that sentiment. I think in the crypto market right now, there's a lot of anxiety, right? We just had something massive happen with Terra Luna, where people lost a lot of money. And so I think with that hit, with what's going on around the globe, right? We have the potential of a new monkeypox. I mean, we have this war going on. We have inflation high. So I think with all those things, overall markets are super fearful. I mean, from a retail perspective, I think corporations are taking this as a potential buying opportunity, but not yet. I think you have a lot of cash sitting on the sidelines waiting to jump in um, when enough indicators go off. But I think the crypto market is still a little hesitant. Something like Luna happening, where people didn't expect something like that to happen, and then all of a sudden it did, gives people, a little bit of fear. And so now people are like, oh man, what else could happen? What other coin is next to go? And so because crypto is kind of dominated from a retail standpoint to this up until this point, I think that's why you're seeing a lot of red, and just overall, with inflation going up, cost of goods going higher. I think a lot of people are more worried with how they're going to buy everyday goods versus how they're going to make their next buck. So it's a little difficult. I think eventually things will turn around. But when they will turn around, who knows? To Manolo's point, we might see a lot more red before we see green, but only time will tell how long that takes to turn around, right? If there's regulation that happens, you might have a wave of corporations that now feel more secure investing in the crypto space. So you may see a jump in with corporations, and that might be the rally. And then retail might just tag in after that, but we'll see. Just a lot of moving parts going on globally right now.
Nice. And my 2 cents, I want to kind of address. People always ask me, why is the market so volatile? And it's pretty much because what you're seeing now is because the market's such smaller than the average stock market. I think it's like less than half the size. I might be wrong, but I think it's something like that. So, when you see the fear and all this, you're going to see the dips. And the downside to that is that, people put money in and then they see their returns, you know, pretty much, drop. But if you got in early enough, you should still be in should still see some profit. And also, this is the time to make the money. As this market continues to grow, it's going to be less volatile, but I think also the returns are going to be a lot less. So now is probably the time to kind of, really look at those coins that you've been researching and wanting to buy, and maybe this could be the time to buy. Which leads us to our next topic. What do you think what strategy should people be using, if any?
Um, so I believe, first of all, I wouldn't put any money in the market that I cannot afford to lose. That would be the
Well,
first thing that I would suggest. Again, not financial advice, none of this. We're just, we love this. This is for educational purposes, and you should always do your own research, right? Um, I think this is an excellent time to begin to research, right? There's no rush. I feel that as exciting as the bull market may be, it's also a bit anxiety ridden because so much is going on with so many projects all at the same time. And you kind of have that fear of, should I get out now? Will this rally continue? Should I put more money in? There's a lot of decisions that you have to kind of make, and it helps to have a plan before, because we tend to stick with the decisions that we plan on prior to things happening. Um, Dollar cost averaging I think is something that we should apply over time, whether it be on a monthly basis, weekly basis. I personally wouldn't put too much in at this very moment, but it's an excellent time to do your homework, to learn about the markets. If you've ever been interested in learning how to analyze charts, now's the time. I can help you with that. We'll talk about that later. Um, but it's a perfect time to kind of get your battle plan ready. Everyone is scared, right? And that is great because it's going to buy you time. Um, Besides the fact that we're so early in this marketplace, before things turn around, we have time to do our due diligence, get in position on what our favorite coins are, and prepare.
What about
That's
you, E? What do you
No,
think?
100%. I agree with everything Manolo said. I probably wouldn't be going all in right now either. But now is a perfect time for people to pick up the coins that, you could, assuming you do your due diligence and your own research, there's a lot of utility coins out there that, you know, were eventually at a price that no one could jump in because they were too high, right? Um, and now you're getting some of those coins at a bit of a bargain. So I wouldn't put all my cash in, like I said, but if you find a coin that's a utility coin and right now it's selling at a lot lower than what it was selling before, why not buy a little bit now? Not a lot. Don't put all your chips in yet. Um, but you could position yourself a little bit. And then if it goes down a little further, maybe you could position yourself again, like dollar cost averaging, like Manolo was stating. But then you don't want to get into the position where if there are these utility tokens and regulation comes out and you didn't do a little nibbling, then the price starts soaring. And then people want to try to jump in as there's too much green. So, yeah, I think take your time, do your research. If you feel confident about projects, maybe put a little bit in. And that'll eventually, you say, oh, wow, all right, I'm already in. And then start looking into some storage wallets. So now would be a good time to do all that, I think.
Nice, I agree. And just to be clear, like I have a lot of crypto trolls, people who don't believe in it yet. Most of you know that E was the one who got me into crypto. And just to be transparent, when I got in, I bought XRP about 25 cents, and it's at 40 cents, I think, this morning. So it's still, I've almost doubled my initial investment. And then when the lawsuit came about, I bought back in at 16 when it was 16 cents. So, you know, everyone wants to paint the news that the market, down and people losing all their money. But in reality, if you bought in early, you will see a return. And even Bitcoin, for example, if you do dollar cost average, whatever it may be, $40 a week or $20 a week, $100 a week, if you zoom out, it has grown year after year. So in reality, dollar cost averaging year after year is still going to pay off. In my, not financial advice, just putting it out there. My 2 cents or my two Satoshis.
And to that, let's be clear, right? This is still this is a pure speculative market.
100%.
Until there's regulation and full utility, it's 100% speculation, right? It's a little different than the traditional markets where you have companies that are actually operating and they have brick and mortars for the most part, and you can actually read books on returns. There's a lot of crypto companies that are solid projects that on the books they look amazing, but to play devil's advocate, if utility is never realized, then this is just always going to remain a speculative market. However, the flip side of that is these utility tokens or tokens that have the potential to change the future. Once there is regulation and utility is realized, then buckle your seats, belts.
You're right, because it could be, it could go down to zero, but it could also, as they say, it could come after all the money, So.
Yeah. Yeah. It could definitely go down to zero. It's just like the sun could just shut off tomorrow. There's a possibility of that, right? Eventually, it's
Yeah.
going to happen, but the likelihood that I think the crypto market is going down to zero.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely because right here you would say and again, going back to the story of my origin in
Mention
crypto.
again,
Um,
like you just mentioned, we're still waiting on.
Sorry, Mano, I think we lost you for a second.
Yeah, we lost you for a quick second.
Yeah, but yeah, going back to what we were saying was that you know it could go. Are you back?
I think he's still having a little bit of technical difficulties.
Yeah, yeah. You would say that the technology though isn't going anywhere, right? Most of
Well,
it.
that's the thing, right? If I didn't see Congress pushing for, if I didn't see Biden creating an executive order, if I didn't see a lot of movement going on, I mean, there's definitely an interest in the crypto space. The technology is absolutely fascinating. The blockchain technology is fascinating. Again, not every single crypto will be around, right? I think the
Correct.
cryptos that are solving a problem that currently exists, those are going to stay. But there's a lot of cryptos that potentially just create a problem and then try to solve for it. I don't think those will be around. So I think it's doing your homework, trying to look at just the way that things are operating today, right? The way that things are functioning from a finance perspective, just from anything, the way that you see things moving, right? Blockchain can't solve for everything because sometimes blockchain technology could be expensive, quote unquote, in theory. And so just using blockchain to use blockchain may not make sense, right? Eventually, when things fully interoperate, technologies are going to advance a lot further. The cost of, transactions is going to decrease. So then blockchain may then jump in. So blockchain may not be for everything. I think if you look at blockchain from a what problem exists that current technology can't account for and blockchain can, you look at it from that lens, then I think you could find some unicorns.
Beautifully said, man. Agreed. You back, Manolo?
Yeah, am I? You hear
Yeah.
me? All right. Yeah, I think E repeated his point that I think is very valid. We're still waiting on regulatory clarity, and once that happens, the floodgates are going to be open. And until then, it's like you have to be a bit cautious. But it just shows how early we are. There's not even regulatory clarity on these projects. So completely speculative. Once that gets ironed out, I think we're going to see a lot of activity, much like in the 90s with the internet. A lot of these projects will probably get bought out by bigger corporations, and that'll be a huge signal to maybe dabble in microcaps, in my view, because I think that the market will then get picked up by all this corporate money, and it's going to be pretty insane. It's going to be like the internet all over again.
Word. With that said, it's a great segue into our first piece of headline news. You want to kind of touch on this, Manolo? It's three metrics contrarian crypto investors use to know when to buy Bitcoin.
Yes. So, three metrics, you know, we want to kind of keep an eye on the market, not just jump in because we see a news story, which generally, manipulated by people with money, right? We want to have an eye on the macro, the larger scale of things. One way to kind of get a feel without being a quote unquote expert is looking at the crypto fear and greed index. When this story came out, it was at 12. Now it's at 10. So there's a whole lot more fear going on. Historically, when we're getting at these extreme levels of fear, it's a once in a lifetime or once in a cycle lifetime opportunity to get in on these coins that have strong fundamentals and a higher likelihood to stick around for the long term. Um, like this story says, pointed analysts that the one of the biggest factors that can help the index rise is an increase in price. We're not seeing that right now. The markets are actually losing market cap. We were at one point way over $1 trillion in market cap in this crypto space, and I think we got to about 600 billion. Um, I am not sure where we stand right now. I'd have to look at the charts, but it's lost a lot of money. Um, besides that, crypto fear and greed index, you could take a look at Glassnode here, whale wallets accumulating, and a lot of my favorite channels uh, go over this, where because all of this activity, these transactions are going on within the blockchain, we don't necessarily know who owns what, but we could see when large amounts of currencies being moved from either wallets onto um, places like Coinbase, Binance, exchanges, and vice versa. So when we see whales move their money from cold storage wallets like the Arculus wallet, which we're going to get into later, into exchanges, that could kind of tip us off to the point where there may be a sell-off. When the reverse is true, we can possibly believe that these whales are holding and have no intention of selling, and maybe the market's going to go higher. And the last indicator here, let's see what we're looking at. Traders buy when Bitcoin price drops below its cost of production. So this is like the metrics that's going into the cost of making it, via mining. When mining becomes a bit too expensive as a producer, you're incentivized to mine Bitcoin or whatever coin you want to talk about. At the end of the day, they're not doing it just because they love it. There's a monetary incentive for that activity. So when it becomes not as profitable, they tend to want to exit, stop mining, and that's going to affect the price. So I want to kind of cut it there. And I think these are three tools that, as an investor, as a trader, as a speculator, we could benefit from being aware of and using.
Nice. The next piece of news is actually a very good one. We, often see a lot of scammers in the crypto space. I mean, they're all over nowadays, but especially in the crypto space. And this is just a quick example of how clever they're getting. Just take a quick look at this video. This is Elon Musk, allegedly Elon Musk talking.
What can you tell us about your project B and how it will help people get rich right now? Today, we are launching an investment project that is working right now. If you see this video, absolutely everyone can earn it. Everything is very simple. You invested your money in Bitcoin for TeslaTreebot.net is our bot, after which everyone who invested their cryptocurrency will be able to receive exactly 30% of dividends every day from the investment. How long will it take for dividends to arrive? I'm sure that from 3 months. Is the number of seats unlimited? Yes, absolutely.
So clearly that was not Elon Musk, but they're using technology called deepfake, where they can take an image of you and I think it's about a minute of your voice, and they could pretty much make you say whatever they want you to say. So
Yeah,
this is how crazy it's gotten.
yeah. I think clearly the technology isn't on point yet. But it's just a preview of what's coming. Scammers are just going to become more and more sophisticated. We see scammers in many channels in the comment section. They sound like they're having a normal conversation. At the end, they try to pitch you something. So just be aware of that. Whoever fell for this, kind of don't feel sorry for you, because you have to kind of do your own diligence and know that when something sounds a little too good to be true, doesn't mean that it's not true, but at least check it yourself.
You mean I'm not gonna become a millionaire after putting in $10?
Yeah, maybe in the lottery, but the odds are kind of steep. Uh, for anyone that did invest in that, I have a bridge and a huge oxidizing statue in New York to sell you.
E, what do you think about all this? E, I know you're big on security. You've always helped me with maybe know where the SIM swaps and all that. What do you think?
I think scammers are getting more clever. I think it is what it is. I think that for anyone that did fall for it, if it was your first time ever listening to anything, and maybe you're just trying to follow the markets, I see how you could potentially have fell for that. Because there's a lot of seasoned veterans that have fell for scams. They're just getting better and better, right? And so if you don't know any better, you might fall victim. So I would say, just with anything in life, you just have to be very cautious, right? If you lost money, don't be discouraged. Take it as a learning opportunity, and hopefully this will just make you think twice when you see something. If there's a link, I never really click on links on videos that people post. I try to stay away from that. If you're in a Discord, I turn off messaging in Discord, because that's how they get you there. In crypto, maybe separate your crypto devices from your everyday devices, just to minimize. So there's steps that you could take. It's just being cautious, right? It's your money. It's a little different. I think people are used to walking into a bank, depositing their money, and having a sense of security. It's a little different in the crypto space and with a lot of other things. So you have to take additional steps, be a little more cautious. If you're sending a wallet address, maybe don't send all of it. Send $1, do a test, validate that the address is okay, make sure it got there, and then repeat the steps. So there's certain things that you could do. Obviously, we're not going to be 100% free of risk, but you can minimize risk, and you could potentially get to a place where you're less risk prone. So it's just be very, very, very careful. Measure twice. So this way you only have to cut once, and that's it. There's a lot of things that you could do to just try to be more secure. But to Joe's point, this is just one of the things. Before, when I used to answer my phone, with my first and my last name, just because if it was business related. Now I stopped doing that, just because I don't want to give them the first and last name as soon as I pick up. So I just say, if it's a number that I don't know, this is going to sound weird, but if it's a number that I don't know, I almost clone my voice and say something weird like "hello," and then I get an engagement back, and then I kind of continue that for a little bit, just in case there is a deep fake. It's not 100% my voice, So I try to do little things like that to help me along the way.
Yeah.
Are they ever like, "Grandma"? Is that you? What you're saying?
I just want to add one thing. I mean, in this space and in life in general, I mean, I think we've all at one point or another been scammed, right? I know I've lost money, if not scammed, but lost money. When you're in the crypto space, when you're in the markets, you will lose money. It's all about risk mitigation and, winning more than you lose. I wouldn't say be discouraged if people lost money in this or any other type of scam or investment. It's take it as the cost of learning and getting better. Don't quit. Take the lesson from it. Put that price tag to that lesson. If it's an expensive lesson, don't ever repeat it again and move on.
Beautifully said. And while we're on security, E and I had the privilege of going down to the Bitcoin conference, and the great people at Arculus hooked us up with some hardware wallets. A few of them went out to early supporters. So if you got one, thank you. You know who you are. But we are actually giving one of them away. This is what it kind of looks like. You can secure your crypto there. And Manolo, you want to kind of touch on the rules? How's one lucky winner going to be able to win this beautiful prize?
Yes. So we're going to keep it, fairly simple. Please just repost this or your favorite Cipher Sessions video or post that you see, a quote, anything of ours, repost it, tag one friend, and hashtag your favorite crypto project, and you will instantly be entered into this drawing. So, one, repost something of Cipher Session. Two, tag a friend that you think could benefit from any and all the information that we're posting. Three, hashtag your favorite crypto project, and you're in.
When does the winner get announced?
So we will announce the winner July 4th, Independence Day, and you have more than enough time to use those thumbs to make yourself some secure storage of funds in the crypto space.
Beautiful. Well, that's, I think, today's episode. I hope you guys have a great Memorial Day, and I hope you enjoy our special.
Don't
Yes,
forget to
sir.
like, share, and subscribe with people that you feel could benefit from the channel. Cipher Sessions out.
Peace.
Peace.